Hello, and welcome back to Entrepreneur Talks podcast. This is season 4. Thank you for being with us through all the previous seasons, and we're going to have more fun and inspirational stories for you to hear on season 4. My name is Yola Bastos. I'm one of the co-founders of Women Flix network community. We are focused on empowering and motivating women around the world to achieve their dreams. We mainly support them through coaching, business strategies, and workshops. Our aim is to build connections that will increase the power of women in collaboration and be able to create space for growth and expand our knowledge. Find more about Women Flix through Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube. You can find us always by Women Flix. I also want to say welcome to my guests on this new season. And I hope for my listeners to enjoy every episode and get in touch with each of my guests through the information that will be available on each podcast episode description. My guest for today's podcast is Juliet Francis. Juliet is the founder of JFPR Consulting. Is one of the 6 businesswomen from across UK who, since the Covid-19 crisis hit, have turned their companies around and created new paths for success. Juliet had to be creative in finding ways to ensure her clients who were not operating as normal could remain relevant. Let's welcome Juliet Francis and listen about her journey during COVID-19. Hello, Juliet. Welcome to my podcast. I'm so glad to have you here with me today.
Hello, Yola. It's really exciting for me to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me.
You're more than welcome. I'm so excited to hear about your story, what you bring for us today, for me and for my listeners. But before we start our conversation related with your business, with yourself, tell me where exactly you're talking from.
I'm speaking from London, actually Camden area, or the Camden Borough, northwest of London in the UK.
Where the carnival happens, right?
Well, the carnival is mainly situated in Notting Hill, actually. In fact, this year was the first year since its existence there was no carnival at all, actually, because of the pandemic. But so it's not too far away, not too far.
So you're telling me that we're not going to have carnival this year?
Can you believe it's been cancelled this year for the first time in its existence since?
Oh my gosh, I was thinking about, because I'm in London as well, and I was thinking, what about our carnival? I love the carnival. I love just to go there and see different things because you can see.
Oh, I mean, it's literally everybody looks forward to the carnival every year, so it's such a shame, really. I mean, we really need a carnival now as well.
Right, yeah, exactly. Oh my God, I didn't know that. But thank you for letting me know about the carnival and my listeners as well. If you are in London, no carnival this year. Oh my gosh. So now
we can all do it. We can do it virtually. We can all have a carnival virtually. There's nothing stopping us from doing that.
Oh, Juliet, good idea. Oh, wow. Every house in Camden Town and all that area could open their doors, and whoever is happy.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh, wow. It's something that is going to make a change in everyone's here, because it's something that never never stopped. So as you said, it's going to be the first time that it's not going to happen. That's weird. Very weird. But there we go. Life is real. And yeah, we are living now with COVID-19 story. We are part of that. Right.
Wow, it's basically dominating, you know, everything part of our lives, and it's kind of a really good introduction to why we've connected, really.
Yes, that's right. Because one of the main reasons we're gonna be talking today is about COVID-19. But before that, Juliet, can you tell me what is JFPR stands for, which is your business?
Yes, it's JFPR Consulting. It stands for Juliet Francis Public Relations Consulting. It's basically my new business name. When I started off, my business was just called Juliet Francis PR, and I'm now in the process of rebranding, so it's now JFPR Consulting.
Fantastic. So consulting, what consultations do you do?
So essentially it's a public relations consultancy, and we specialize in media relations, essentially. So sort of traditional PR, but we say we're the original content curators. You know, it's not just myself, there's a very small team of us. We're made up of ex-journalists and obviously seasoned PR professionals as well. But I mean, one of our main things is to create content and to use that content in order to get as much media coverage as possible. That's traditional media, that's broadcast, print, you know, consumer coverage, as well as online coverage as well.
Oh, and that includes social media as well? You work with companies?
Yes. Yes, we work with a lot of our clients ask us to curate content for their social media. So we're quite savvy. I mean, you know, creating content for media is actually quite a skill set in itself. So our clients find our, you know, content really, I guess, you know, inspiring enough to feel that it can be very engaging socially. And I can completely see why. So yeah, we do a lot of social media content as well.
Yes, fantastic. So that means that, and how was your situation in terms of business and your clients? How did you survive during COVID outbreak? Tell me more about this experience with COVID.
Yeah, well, I guess, you know, when this is like a, you know, it's obviously triggering a potential sort of recession sort of era. And I've actually gone through a kind of recession before in 2006, 2007. So my immediate thoughts were, well, it's definitely going to impact the business the way it did then, because I'd set up another consultancy years ago. So this is actually my second time. It was more like a very small sort of, you know, self-employed and more than, you know, rather than a sort of limited company. But even then, you know, as you're trading as a sole trader, you're still impacted by, you know, markets and, you know, commerce. And so I kind of anticipated we would, you know, I would kind of go down the same trajectory, that we would be impacted financially because clients would have kind of a knee-jerk reaction to, you know, the pandemic and the fact that, you know, obviously most businesses have had to close down, and that's going to affect, you know, consumer spending.
Right.
So
you managed to stay up.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't necessarily have to close down. Definitely certain clients couldn't move forward anymore. But generally, I would say that maybe a quarter of my business is impacted. So it kind of dented my business by about a quarter of turnover. Yeah. But I think what I found was that I think I survived better because I was much more in tune with my business, you know, at the start of the year anyway. And just before 2020, I decided to really drill down on the financial side of the business and be very vigilant when it comes to what's going on there. And as a result, I was prepared for kind of any downturn. And so I managed to survive it quite, you know, well, because I realized that I was still bringing in sufficient income, and in certain parts of the business still growing it. I mean, obviously only in very nominal amounts, but the fact that there was still growth in a harsh environment showed me it's still possible to grow despite the situation. So yeah,
good, because it's not if we look around, we know that there's a lot of companies that they had to shut down, they had to change, but to close completely. But on the other side is some of other companies, they just managed to create other ways, or other, how we call, to, it's like, create other ways to be able to continue receive money, so the finances never stopped, or the earnings still coming in. So I was just wondering if you created anything new during the COVID, or you just maintain, like you said, you didn't stay with a full clientele that you had, but you managed to keep yourself well in terms of finances as well, because you prepared yourself from January. But did you done anything different during this COVID to add to your business, like advertisement or free things? Did you do any?
Well, I think, funnily enough, I didn't really change the dynamics of my business. I was definitely in a very unfortunate situation where actually a lot of the business practices that are now fairly commonplace because of COVID-19, I already had in place anyway. So for example, there wasn't any real plans to have a physical office space for the team. I can't see why people can't just work from home as long as you're producing the goods for the clients and you're servicing clients really well.
Right.
So I kind of already, before COVID-19 emerged, had this idea that I still can't understand why I have to take on so many overheads, when I feel that if I can produce work effectively for clients, then my team should be able to do that, and actually it works better if we work flexibly. So I always had this thinking that I'm going to work from home anyway, and then if I can work from home, then surely the people that work with me can work from home too, which they do. And then, we have a nice, building. It's a membership club in Mayfair called Albright, which is amazing. And it's a beautiful membership place, and it's perfect to entertain clients in. So anytime that we do want to see clients, because obviously a face-to-face meeting is still really important.
Right.
We'll go into central London, we'll meet them there, and, we really make a deal of the meeting, and we really prepare for that. But apart from that, all our clients are very busy. As long as we're producing and we have our online meetings as well, they should be able to trust us, etc. Then I've never had to sort of change. I've always been able to work from home. And I guess the second thing is that...
Oh, that's really good.
Yeah, and then we work with the media. So the media, I think, has been a little bit impacted, but still, they're still churning out news on a daily basis. And so that's our job, is to help to inform journalists about what's going on and updating them. And of course, you can still do that virtually. So we didn't have to change there either. What has been different is that clients are not in the same position. They have got physical spaces where they've got overheads. They have got products and services which they couldn't necessarily sell over the pandemic. And if that's the case, what are they going to do? Unfortunately, just through sort of conversation, it turns out that actually nearly all clients had an opportunity to really make themselves visible and actually turn the crisis into a bit of an opportunity. So they still had news to sell, even though they did not necessarily have product, they would have had news to sell. And actually, we found in a lot of cases in that situation, their news sold a lot better because we were more relevant in the media because of it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, so true. A lot of companies and business, they just had a big jump in terms of finances during this season. It was incredible. I know some people that managed to get done very well during the season. We're still getting into the season. This is, how I say, this is not, it's not the end yet. We're still on COVID-19 series. So we know that everything can go up and down. We're going to have this kind of momentums, like ups and downs, but the best thing is to really find a way that you can maintain your business depending the business, right, Juliet, if I make sense? Because
yes,
in your industry, you didn't need to, like you said, you already said that, but you didn't need to change too many things. But you also know another women, business women, that they survived during COVID outbreak, right? They changed directions to continue to thrive, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, working with, my clients, and then sometimes a wider group of women, we're all sort of part of the same network. I was really inspired because obviously one of the things that I do is, working with clients, seeing some clients that, would have had to shut up shop. One of my clients is a sort of aesthetic medical clinic. And obviously you can't do any professional beauty during the pandemic. It had to close down. And by just, through conversation, they said, well, we have this fantastic product, which is our own product, which we use for our own clients. Everybody loves it. Why don't we just, continue to just sell that virtually and actually use that as a product to sell? And so we had a product that we could basically market, and it was basically a very popular product because face masks, everyone's doing DIY beauty at home and no one can go to see their professional beautician anymore. How do you actually pamper yourself at home, when you're at home and there's so many harsh elements going on around you? And face masks, I mean, the market and the amount of face mask products, the industry grew like in a really short space of time. So my client was actually in a prime position to be in a really good space within that market. So I was really inspired by some of my clients and how they managed to turn things around, but also inspired by a few women. Mm-hmm. There was about 4 of them that, sort of came forward and that had been on my radar, and that we'd be liaising with them and managed to get some, good coverage through with some of them. And, one of them was, for example, she's a seamstress, she's a seamstress and owner of a company called Cushions and Creations. And obviously she makes, cushions, beautiful cushions, and her business basically just stopped during the pandemic. And then there's, of course, Agnes Van Reen. She's the founder of the Reinvention Mentor. And, her business is about physical meetings, actually meeting her clients. And she coaches, by the way, and she mentors women because she has a female business network for entrepreneurs and business executives. And obviously, as the Reinvention Mentor, what can she do in a situation like that when all this is face-to-face meetings? So she literally had to kind of completely change her business proposition as well, which she did. Right. And the other one was, she's a actual stylist. She's a sort of a personal, runs a personal styling company for both men and women. She was literally forced to cancel all her orders when COVID-19 had hit. So, it was a case of, she just, it was a case of what can she do at that stage. And then there's Little City. I mean, it's an amazing company. It's called Little City Chelmsford, and basically it was obviously born in Chelmsford. And Lucy, the founder, her company was about building sort of role play cities. So, it could be a little, Manchester, where it has, or a little Chelmsford, and it has a farm here, and, maybe it has like a chemist over there. And so she can build a little city, and then all of the school, if your child has a birthday, then you can invite all their friends to come to this little city, to play in this little city. And nobody could have any events. So she literally had to stop all of her business. And then there was also Susie, who's a photographer. No photography was happening, obviously.
I love
she could not do any physical photography, so that stopped. But every single one of these women completely just decided to, I guess, first of all, accept the situation. Yes. And then secondly,
the right word, yeah.
Offer a solution. And that's how they managed to thrive, I think, in the situation that they're in.
I love it because first of all, we are all women, and then we are powerful. and like listen about these ladies that you all one by one you spoke about, because you know them and you know that you had they had success during this time, and it's amazing how we can, just if we do like you said, just you said about the give some give a product, no giving, but changing the methods or changing the way. It's amazing. Wow, thank you so much for sharing, Juliet, about this lady.
Okay.
And I would love to hear about their stories as well. To be, if they want to be my guests, feel free to tell them. And
yes,
I would like to hear more. Sounds amazing. I love to know about these stories, like specific. How did you do it? What you done? How was the outcome? Amazing. So, and related with your business right now, are things coming back to normal, or do we have a normal from the after COVID, or because we're still on COVID-19, not anymore in lockdown completely, but are you able to see clients face to face?
Well, actually, yes. The last few weeks, I've had a couple of meetings with clients in central London. So we've kind of gone back to where we were before. I think the difference is that obviously we're still going through a pandemic, and so we've still got to act responsibly. And I think that one of the things I've felt is that actually there's been some really almost sort of golden nuggets that have come from the pandemic. It's been devastating in so many respects. So I'm not playing down, the deaths or, the devastation in terms of the businesses but out of this situation, it's like we've got to try and grow somehow. We've got to try and make the best of what we've got left, I guess. And I feel that and adapt. And I feel like we've got to respect the fact that this thing is still out there. And so even though it's been very challenging staying at home all the time, I feel like it's interesting that, you don't need to go, you can kill yourself out going from A to B to do all these, just to have physical meetings and see people. And I think this has made me much more strategic in the networking and communicating with people. And I think you can actually get more out of doing less if you're clever.
Yes, I agree.
And I think that's what it's taught me. So I've had a couple of meetings, and I think in order to make sure I don't go back to where I was in just fitting in meetings to fit in meetings, it would actually instead respect everyone's time and respect your own time, and stick to every client should have one meeting a month, and the rest could be any potential online meetings, and I guess so I've taken that away for sure.
That's great.
And I think as well, with, for example, Anne, yes, she's the reinvention mentor, the one that has the company for, female business networks and entrepreneurs and business executives. All of her face-to-face meetings had to be, online. She's got quite a lot of groups throughout central London where she helps, female entrepreneurs to actually, thrive in their own business generally. And because she's actually converted everything online, it's actually made the process so much easier. And she says that actually, it's actually made, usually people have to, join and in terms of memberships, every year they have to renew their memberships. And sometimes you'll have a little bit of a drop off. But this year, she said 99% of the members that were due for renewal since COVID have indeed renewed by the fact that they've launched online instead. So she's actually been gaining probably more people since COVID. So it's an opportunity, she said. She says, see it as an opportunity to revisit the personal and business choices you've made so far, as well as to be creative and step up from there, create a new vision of what you want for your business to look like, and take step-by-step action to turn it into reality. So she's a fantastic mentor. She really looks at the, to identify the issue and breaks it down and can help you She's very motivational, take step-by-step action to turn your goals into reality. So it can, it's basically probably changed fundamentally some businesses. And a lot of businesses, not just some actually. It's fundamentally changed them, but actually I can see where for most of them it's probably changed them for the better.
I believe so as well. Yeah, I agree with you. I believe on that. Totally. Because in terms of your own self, your own mindset, your way of working, your way of living, everything changed. Everything. So I think in general for the best for everyone, each of us, everyone in the world, like right now, in terms of, I'm talking about business, but as a person as well, I think was a big transformation for everyone in general. That's fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you, Juliet, for sharing all this with me and my listeners. So my last question will be, how can people connect with you and find more about your work?
They can actually go on to my website. They can email me or they can call me. But my website is jfprconsulting.co.uk. We're on Instagram as well. And it's just literally at Juliet, that's Juliet, Francis, Francis, P for Peter, R for Romeo. That's at Juliet Francis PR Instagram, and message us and contact us that way, or email us. You'll find the email address, which is juliet@julietfrancis.co.uk on the website in any case. But please connect, even if you just need some advice or just some direction. And that's one of the things that I've been doing, is really trying to help others. They may not necessarily have the budget for PR, but they just want somebody to sort of give them advice, to get them ready, for it. So happy to be contacted.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing your social media and ways of getting in touch with you, connect with you. So, and I want to also leave here a note for my listeners that all this information will be on detail with all the links on the description of the podcast when coming live. So make sure if you have any questions, like Juliet just mentioned, get in touch, don't hesitate, because sometimes we never know. We probably don't have that need of a PR, but a PR will be able to help with something related with that, or even sometimes no, because we never know, right? But thank you so much, Juliet. It was a pleasure to have you here, and I really enjoy to hear about all these amazing women and yourself. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you so much, Shirley. It was a pleasure to speak to you.
Thank you. God bless you. Bye-bye.
God bless. Bye.
Hello. Once again, I want to say thank you for joining us on our podcast episode. We came to the end of this episode, but we will have another episode next week. So don't forget, follow us so you can catch the next one. You take care, and I speak with you next week. Bye.